Yesterday, a police officer in a small Texas town resigned over an incident at a pool. We know this because the incident was caught on a camera phone, instantly making a local conflict a national phenomenon. It's nuts. And with national phenomenons come the media convulsion, the descending of otherwise jobless activists, the placement of said incident into a larger trend, all without pause for sober assessment. If you were a space alien, how would this look to you? Well, you'd notice a trend. Number one, local goes national. Two, teams form to take sides immediately. Three, someone gets punished. Four, rinse and repeat. How would the story have unfolded before the iPhone? It would have stayed local, and they'd deal with the rowdy kids and the overzealous cop right there. But now it's PC ping pong. We rush to defend or condemn before processing what's seen, and race always takes first place. Each day we're greeted with a new Zapruder film, ugly tape that invites outrage, a fight in a store, a cop pepper spraying someone. No one records the good stuff because you can't sell that to a restless, jaded public. And that's what we are. Imagine if you were doing your job. A salesman, a banker, a plumber, and some guy's filming you 24/7. And as you work, he just stares and hums. And when you screw up, he posts that on Facebook. Congratulations, you're now a cop. Don't get me wrong, I'm for outing the bad ones, but in a world of tattletales who have no idea what the hell you put up with every day, if I were a good cop, I'd point the cameras at us. All right, I want to throw to this sound on tape of the attorney for the Eric Guilfoyle. Let's go to that, shall we?
Eric regrets that his conduct portrayed him in his department in a negative light. He never intended to mistreat anyone, but was only reacting to a situation and the challenges that it presented. He apologizes to all who were offended. As Chief Connolly said, he's facing possible criminal charges, so he has to prepare for that.
So, Kimberly, a local story in a small Texas town, we have a national press conference where an attorney has to say a police officer has apologized. Is this over, or should we make this a bigger story?
You mean this particular case?
Yes.
Of Guilfoyle.
Yeah.
Right. I think he tried to get out ahead of it by saying, look, I'm going to step down. But the word is that he was getting death threats. His address was released. This was becoming a very dangerous, untenable situation for his family. So a mistake by the officer does not justify violence against him or his innocent family members. So what I don't like to see is the hysteria and pandemonium that is created by rushes to judgment, where people say this guy should be taken out, the whole thing. I still think they're going to do an investigation. Let's see what happens. I'm not entirely sure what charges they are going to bring against him in this particular case. I don't know. I mean, good luck to them on that.
Dana, okay, so you got these rowdy kids, right? You got a cop that probably, he admits, the emotions got the best of him. That now becomes a data point in a narrative that yet again, cops are brutal racists. That's where it always leads.
Well, and then people connect dots. I mean, you announced, you could go through and you could, even in this past year and a half, you could name several instances where Megyn Kelly last night led with Baltimore because there's developments in that story, the Freddie Gray case, and there will be more on that. So I agree with you. All these local issues are now becoming national issues. They don't necessarily have national solutions. The only thing that they really have is national media attention. The solutions are still local. And that's why I try to exercise some caution in looking at all of these things because we don't know what it's like on the ground there. I don't know what McKinney, Texas is like. I don't know what the pool situation was. I don't know what the cops are dealing with. But I am also for ensuring that law enforcement has the ability to exercise their judgment and their discernment. They have to make snap decisions. Sometimes they are wrong, and he will have to pay the consequences for that, possibly. But condemning an entire police force, all the police in America for these local instances seems very like a slippery slope.
Eric, the little one makes a good point. It's like we have national press that kind of leaves, but it's the local solutions that matter. At the end of the day, I hate saying that, but it's the problem for the local community.
Yeah, and look, it's one of the things in your monologue, I agree with a lot of it. The one part that I would push back on is rather than not embracing the technology of the cell phone, I would like to go the opposite spectrum and say, you know what, let's go out and put a body cam on cops. Now, this is very popular among cops because the vast majority of cops are good cops. Once in a while, you'll come across one that's bad, and he is the one that all the media will point to, the Al Sharptons will point to, the race baiters will point to and say, see, all cops are like him. Well, get it all on tape and see the good stuff that they do. So when someone starts pointing a finger at this guy, Eric Casebolt, for pulling his gun, yeah, but look at this. He had just come from
two
suicides, right. And so he could pull that tape and say, this is what I dealt with an hour before I made that call. So was I wrong? Possibly I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. But there's a reason for what I did. And then he may not have to resign.
Yeah.
And maybe people would say, he's not. Look, he made a mistake. He's a good cop, though, so he doesn't have to turn in his badge.
His whole career is done now.
Juan, cell phones are valuable for obvious reasons because you see things that you haven't seen before. Should, as Eric said, should there almost be like a protective, almost like an arm? Why can't there be an army of drones that are up there watching what cops do? Or what the populace does, because if we're going to watch the cops. I
think there are.
Yeah, there should be.
I thought we just had a big debate about that last week.
Did we?
Sorry.
All right.
Where we said we couldn't do it.
I don't think that
on numbers. You're talking about like looking at people and recording their actions, and if you get called to a suicide, to prevent a suicide, and as a cop you go and the body camera's like, look, the guy was really about to commit suicide. We have health privacy laws that prevent us from even talking about anybody's health care. Mm-hmm. But yet now we're talking about body cameras that would actually film someone's attempted suicide.
No, but the contrary point is you have privacy rights. The question is how do the cops handle the tape that exists? But it's not to say that they shouldn't have the body camera. In fact, the police chiefs around the country are almost unanimous in saying they want the cops to have body cameras. And it's a number of police unions who say, yeah, we're all for the body cameras. So
because they feel they also operate as a protective mechanism for the police who are accused falsely many times of misdeeds.
So it would clear up people who are falsely accused, which is a great point. Honestly, and the holdup, though, is in response to what you were saying about local solutions. No, oftentimes, for instance, the funding, not only for the cameras, but how you store the material, that will come with the help of the federal government. The federal government can help you to get these body cameras. And the idea of the training and saying when there are bad cops that the federal government will take a look, I think, again, that's an important function of our government.
Well, wait, not about the federal government checking the cameras?
No. The federal government has the right. If somebody feels that their rights have been violated, that's interesting to me.
Stop. You had me until that
and
last
then you blew
part.
it. The whole bottom fell out.
There's a program
terrible
right now.
at
There's
the
a
end.
federal program, which a lot of us are against feds getting involved with. We don't want them to have access to that. That's got to be a local police department. And if a local community wants to subpoena the tape, they can do that.
Right.
Funding, though, can come on a matching grant. And we have this right now. President Obama approved $25 million. Police departments around the country can come with matching funds, and they can take some federal money, take their own money, and get body cams. We need a lot more money, but I think it solves. By the way, you know when this is really going to matter? If, God forbid, there's a massive race blow-up in this country over the summer, where you can feel the tensions rising everywhere. If they just start this right now, let's get the cameras on cops right now so that we can avoid situations before they happen, not after.
And this is really interesting to me, because what's distinctive about this story is this happens in a suburban community. This is no hard-ass town, in the tough neighborhood. This is not it. And these are not poor black people overwhelmingly. These are kids. And so I think that's what caught the attention. Now, where it went crazy is then all of a sudden all these activist types show up and want to make it Ferguson and want to make it Baltimore. This is not the case. This is a joke. And then they got their hands up. And as you know from watching the Fox News Channel, even the Justice Department, even the Obama Justice Department said that was a hoax. There was no hands up in Ferguson.
That was a lie.
But guess what? The national people now, they've taken to this, and I think they undermine their own credibility when they do that. But much as the officer was wrong, as much as he overreacted to a bunch of teenagers in bathing suits who obviously weren't hiding anything, I think when the activists come in, they hurt themselves and they hurt the larger issue of dealing with cops who get out of control.
I think that's a fair point, and a fair point to end on this segment and go to. We just had a presser on the manhunt. Very important news here. It was Governor Cuomo telling us what's happened with these missing inmates. Go for it.
We need to find these escapees. They are dangerous men. They are killers. They are murderers. There's no reason to believe they wouldn't do it again. They're going to be more desperate than ever. So we're doing everything we can. It's a top priority to find them and to bring them back.
So, Kimberly, we had breaking news. Press conferences telling us that we haven't found these people.
I know.
This is amazing breaking news. Your
he
thoughts?
He said they're very dangerous and we need to find these people.
Yes.
Did you pay attention?
Yeah. You know what I always want? They would say they're very dangerous. Do not approach them. Just once I'd like him to say, please approach them. Go up to them, tell them your name, invite them over for coffee.
Body slam.
We know not to approach them.
We know they are very seriously dangerous individuals, and it's probably going to end very badly in some kind of shootout with the police. We've seen this before, so let's see what's going to happen. But I was hoping he was going to say something like, "We've got a good lead and we're close," or something of that nature.
That was a CYA press conference,
right? And
they were to make it look like they're doing stuff.
And they were thanking people. I mean, yeah.
Thank you so much for sitting here every day as you do at 5 o'clock. Basically, it was the equivalent of that.
Can I add a little something to that? I think it went beyond CYA. I think this was Governor Cuomo, who's had a tough time lately with some would say questionable decisions, getting out in front of it. I mean, the minute this thing was announced, he was up at the prison,
inspecting,
walking through, photo ops all over the place. Here's the pipe they cut through. Here's me climbing down ladders. This is far different from some of the other things that he's. It's funny the way he's handled some.
It's funny, actually. It's a good point, Juan. It's always about pipes with Cuomo. He can't handle fracking. He can't handle fracking, and he can't handle escapees who made it out through a pipe.
E-cigarettes either.
Yeah, e-cigarettes.
He don't like those either. You know what's I find so fascinating? I love these stories. The one about this one, the point about this story that fascinates me is apparently there was a woman working at the prison, and she was involved in helping these guys who were making material or clothes or something.
They were tailors.
Tailors, okay. And then she becomes the friend, and the theory is that she helped them get the tools, and now she's checked into a hospital.
Because she had a big panic attack when it actually worked and they escaped. I mean, wow.
But she got used, apparently.
Well, you know what? There's a nice jail for her so she can come.
Oh, see, that's why you were a prosecutor.
You
have no, wait.
People have choices in this life, Juan. They should exercise them responsibly. Oh, please.
You know, ever since you were made commander of the Star Trek Enterprise.
You love it. Where is my star, my truth?
I could never do that. Do you have a final thought?
Nanu?
What? No, that's Mork. For gosh sakes. You're confusing Mork with Mr. Spock.
No, that's, Nanu
do that too?
Mr. Spock.
I don't know. Now you confused
Spock
me.
had the pointy situation.
All right.